stand is there, so I'll play looking there.
Sure.
This is the first horn solo from the Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony.
Mm-hmm.
Skip the 7 beats.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's enough to see the problem. Did you notice how the first time I played the C was very out of tune?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like those things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about that register specifically from.
Yeah. Yeah.
That register.
It's a common thing for horn players. Could you play it again?
Also that E.
Yeah. Can you play facing towards me once more again? Okay. So so let's start from the E above the E you finished on. No, is that an E flat?
No,
it's E. And then finish on an octave a half lower.
So from the top E.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about the A an octave higher than you finished.
Yeah. Sorry.
So as you descend the notes, you start moving your mouthpiece a little more towards the left. Okay. So when you start at the middle A at the beginning of this phrase, kind of set your whole playing a little more towards the low register.
From the A.
From the first A, from the very first A. Kind of, so practically speaking, just a little more towards the left and downwards on your face, and probably just a little more intentional opening of the aperture. Yeah, and a little more air volume. No, with the actual phrase.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Yeah. And the beginning A was sounding good. So in the descent of the notes, really kind of risk going too flat. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Did that feel a little different?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, the higher you go, it's in terms of the embouchure, the essential work you're doing is to bring the lips closer together. And the lower you go, it's about bringing the lips apart. And in both cases, there are better ways of doing that, and there are less better ways of doing that. So the well-known, not really recommended way to open your aperture is to just simply relax your face. That's something usually people will discourage. And the other thing that many people use, but probably they should have at least another option, is to rely on opening the jaw. Yeah, without moving the center of the lips. Like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's kind of simple because you aren't changing the lips at all. But often that makes the sound tight.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's learning to really open the aperture itself before engaging your jaw. Of course, at some point, everyone will have to. Yeah. But if one can go further down without opening the jaw, that means you have actually more control over your lips, and engaging the jaw will allow you to go even further low into the register because you have another way to open the aperture even bigger. Yeah.
Okay.
So when you let's go to that phrase that brings you down to the lower C.
Okay.
Oh, okay. As soon as you go into that F, really start bringing the mouthpiece towards the left and down. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. How did that feel?
Weird, but
Yeah. Hmm.
let me try something else.
Sure.
A little. Okay. We had. I'm a little bit confused. We had discussed before, and I think we agreed that my best setting for low playing was left, but upwards.
Oh, was it? So
Yeah.
sorry. So when you go up a register, which way do you bring your mouthpiece?
Uh, right and down.
Down. Sorry. Then I was confused.
Okay.
Do it that way.
No problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I did it, the moving to the left helps a lot, but when I tried to moving up to was better.
Yeah. Yeah. And so let's do that. Just that bit. The E and C. E do E E C F. E do. Hmm. Hmm. While you are sustaining that E, start bringing the mouthpiece towards the left and upwards. and then probably you will hear a slight dip in the intonation, in the pitch, and then when you hear that dip, move to C. Once more. Take a little more time on the E. Yes, yes, good. Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. If you go on YouTube, I think you will find a bunch of great first horn players playing this solo. And I think you will start to notice how much they are kind of carefully playing in that area. And in many cases, you will see a pretty big shift or change or movements in the embouchure, in the jaw. And I would say they're making sure that each note speaks really fully. Yeah. So that's another kind of direction you can work from. So far, we've been talking only about the mechanical aspect, but many people, many great players, don't have very little idea about this kind of mechanic going on. But then why are they able to play so well? They're really listening. So let's do that bit again, using that dip of the pitch. And then when you go back up to the F, it's the other way around. While you're sitting on the C, start bringing your mouthpiece the other way. And then probably you will start to hear a slight lift in the pitch, or maybe kind of even a decrescendo. That's a sign that the aperture is starting to close. And then when you notice that, go up to the F. Yes,
I'm
good.
a little bit confused. Wait.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
Sorry.
Oh, that's good. Yes, good. Yes. Yeah. That kind of slight the that the way you moved from the C to F was Ray Horn-like. It doesn't sound particularly elegant, but that's how the natural harmonics connect with each other. Yeah, there's that zone where the note doesn't quite speak. It's because you're moving your air and lips towards the next note. So it's kind of going out of the nice, comfortable C zone. And then when you bring it far enough towards the F out of the C, then the note speaks on the F. Yeah.
I did feel like the notes, instead of being like dee da da da, where da da da.
Yes, as a result.
Very
Yeah.
connected.
Yes. As a result, it feels very connected. But the actual motion you're doing is it's actually very simple. It's simply opening the aperture and closing the aperture. But really doing that despite the fact that will actually interfere with the pitch. But that's what you want to do. You know, of course, once you get used to it, you will be able to kind of probably pinch your lips exactly at the right timing before people can hear the pitch going out of pitch.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There was one more thing I thought I was going to mention about, but I forgot what that was. Oh, Freudis. You know the yeah.
Natural harmonic.
Yeah. She she talks a lot about bending.
Mhm.
You know that concept? Trumpet players do it all the time. Yeah. This was bending. So bending is actually an essential technique to change natural harmonics. So by staying on one note, but dipping the pitch very far down, that's how you will kind of get a sense of how to actually open the aperture. Tense, or maybe it could be only a hinge, but that's what we were doing just now. And then what people don't talk very much about is actually it's the same the other way around. By sustaining the note, but pinching, well, I should know, the lifting the pitch by closing the aperture is the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Bending. I was going to talk a little bit about bending too, because sometimes it also happens that um, the notes in this register also start. This horn is really easy to do bending with, so they just start like down, down. Mainly when I attack strongly.
So could you explain that to me again?
Yeah. For example, sometimes instead of going, it goes
Nice.
something like.
Yeah. If you do the same an octave above, you're simply going to get a different note because the harmonics are closer to each other.
Yes.
But the lower you go, there's more width of each note. So that makes it easier to not miss the note completely. But on the other hand, it can confuse us sometimes about what we're not doing quite right, because the note does speak, but it just doesn't sound quite right, you know. But it's actually the same thing. You're simply a bit out of the center of the note.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. These two topics, the one about that excerpt and this one, they are very related. I
will.
both happen often to me.
Yeah. How about, okay, pronounce that C again. Ba. So now, on the B flat horn, were you playing on the B flat horn just now?
So,
F horn?
yep.
Okay. So then on the F horn, da, di, starting from the E above, the dip, the dip again, and then go down to the G. Take air in, start on the G, and then lift. No. I don't get the low voice. I'm going to transpose an up an octave. Na di na. Do both ways. First from the E. Dip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good. Good. Yes. And then the C. Beautiful. Yeah. you probably felt the horn ringing much smoothly, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of labeling of I like this, this I don't like, this I want,
More or less like teaching my brain to.
Yeah, yeah. Or kind of it's just saying out loud what you like and what you don't like is probably enough. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Those.
you know now how to kind of look for the sound you want. That's what is important. Rather than kind of trying to teach your body or trying to get your body to remember things. Yeah. I think that's strictly speaking not really possible. I don't think that's how the brain and the body quite works.
Okay.
But when you know how to kind of look for what you want, and when you find it, you say you found it, and that's kind of enough, I think.
Just keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. But apply it to different contexts, apply it to higher notes, lower notes,
Okay. That I think that was all the little things I wanted to talk about in this class. There's, yeah,
At the beginning you said you felt like your middle register was like deteriorating.
yeah,
Probably the better way to put it is because it's probably not deteriorating. It's simply that you were practicing and focusing more on the high register. You were doing much less of the kind of aperture opening movement. Yeah. So it's kind of more like, say you have 5 rooms in your house, and if you okay, now say if you used to live in one room, you could clean your one room perfectly. But once you move into a 3-room house, you know, um, it just takes more time to clean everywhere.
yeah,
So, it's just basically you're in the right track because you're discovering and exploring new registers. Therefore, the register that used to be your front end is kind of sit in your simple area. And so basically the more you're able to do, you need less time to look after each specific area because you're getting better, but you just need to make sure that you're giving a little bit of time to each area
yeah,
if you want to keep everything the same. you know but if you have like a Ray heavy high horn week playing Haydn, Mozart, and then Strauss, all of first horn, you know, then you will probably won't want to really look after the middle and low register so much. You will want to be kind of focusing your body too, to kind of be a little more fixed in the higher register. But once that's done, go revisit the middle and low register. It's the
okay.
same for low horn players.
And yes, these last weeks I have been having to record many things, many high stuff. So
Yeah.
it's been harder to keep track on the other registers.
Yeah.
Uh, how do soloists do? They have to. They need to have every register dominated at
Soloists.
every time. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not a renowned soloist, so and so I can't really speak from my experience. So if you're talking about real soloists who kind of are making their living as a soloist or teachers, you know, um, there are only a few of them, but my impression is that they do focus a lot on flexibility and um, going up and down registers. Which makes sense because a lot of the literature is written like that. Probably that's the same for utility horn players who sometimes have to play first horn assistant and then like second horn in the concert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, do you know the podcast Brass Junkies?
Nope.
Yeah. Check it out. It's great. They're like hundreds of episodes by now. It's a podcast created by Andrew Hitz, a tuba player who used to play in Boston Brass, and I forgot his name, and a euphonium player, also from Boston Brass. But they have every week they get a American brass player as a guest, and once they had a utility horn player who's playing in maybe Chicago. I'm not sure. One of those big American orchestras. But I remember he was mentioning that he makes sure that he doesn't kind of stick on one register. Even if he feels like he's not quite fit for the high register, still make sure that he's able to go back and forth. That's kind of his way of finding his own center.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you should check it out.
Yeah,
a lot
okay,
of the questions are kind of about professional playing.
Yeah, I have many of those.
Yeah, and that's something even among professional players. That's something people kind of learn from colleagues through conversation. You know, so listening to conversations like that, I think you will enjoy it a lot. So, Brass Junkies.
Okay.
Brass Junkies. Yeah, Andrew Hitz. And nowadays there are a lot. Well, Sarah Willis channel also has things like that. The Horn Hangout.
Yeah. I do watch.
Brass Junkies, the Horn Hangout, and the musician mindset. This is Jeff Nelson of the Canadian Brass. He does that every other Fridays on Facebook.
Okay, I will check that out.
Yeah, it's on the Canadian Brass Facebook. Maybe it's on his YouTube too. So if there is a horn player as a guest, there might be some conversations around that. But this channel talks more about the mentality of musicians than the technicality. So the kind of technical questions you're asking as a professional player, kind of to do the work. A lot gets mentioned by great examples in the Brass Junkies.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, also the pathways. That's also.
Okay, let me write those out.
Write it down. Yeah.
I'll have to. I think I'll be gone from the camera for a minute just to write those.
Sure.
Okay, the Brass Junkies and
Brass Junkies, and
Horn Hangouts, right?
and the Pathways. The Pathway.
Pathways.
Yeah. Adam Wolf. WOLF.
Okay.
That's a great channel as well.
And the music mindset, you said?
The
Definition?
musician mindset.
Oh, musician.
Also, there's one more podcast that doesn't give new episodes so often, but sometimes that show up, is the Horn Notes podcast. The Horn Notes podcast,
Okay.
hosted by John Erickson.
John Erickson.
Yeah, I think he's a professor at Indiana or something. Arizona, Indiana, somewhere around there.
Okay. Okay.
So the last episode was April 30th. So he hasn't done one in 6 months. He usually, it seems like, well, I don't know. It doesn't come up so often, but they're like maybe 20 past episodes. Some of them are really interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because a lot of what I'm teaching you are things that I hear other players talk about themselves. You know?
Okay.
And the good thing about that is you will start to know things and understand things more than from your own experience. It's kind of, but it's definitely useful.
Okay, I'll check them out.
Yeah.
There's a lot to watch. I also wanted to, of course not today, but I had pending to talk about the sound, the molding of sound, because I feel like my sound is deviating from what my mind wants. From my idea of sound, my actual sound is going away from that. So
which way is it going? Getting darker, getting brighter?
It's going brighter, but I like it bright, but I think it's losing the softness in it.
So you find it's getting hard.
Yes, I think it's getting hard. Or harder.
Probably you're simply getting the horn to ring more. And you're probably listening to your own sound more. So probably this tendency will actually get stronger. So, but it will sound better out there.
Oh, okay.
People can hear your sound much clearer, probably. So if it's just simply not fitting your taste, that's when you should look into your mouthpiece and the horn itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I always thought it was just me.
No.
But that's right.
Yeah. So, do you know the kind of old Schmidt model horn that Dale Clevenger used to play?
Well, I don't know it, but probably have seen it.
Yeah, it's a Schmidt model. It's not the Schmidt made horn.
Okay.
The thumb valve is in piston.
Oh, interesting.
I have a feeling that you will like that kind of sound. It's a fantastic horn. I would have bought it if my body was bigger. You really need to blow.
Okay.
But for me, it was practically impossible to kind of break the sound. But I just have a sense that you will kind of like that kind of direction. Maybe you can kind of look into like Rauk might be interesting. The
Route?
problem is they're hard to get, yeah, Rauk. Or those kind of big Gaia wraps, but with a little bit of weight on them.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
probably looking into to bit old horns. The new ones, the new horns are all kind of sounding pretty clear. Not necessarily hard, but they sound clear. So they don't really have the kind of softness so much.
As I think I have told you, the kind of sounds I like. It's radic sound, like the Tilsar brothers sound, maybe
Oh,
the Russian horn players sound, old Russian, like Pollock.
huh, huh.
Very, very.
Then,
It's bright but very mellow at the same time.
but that's a kind of old style.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah,
Not exactly the playing, just the sound.
sound. Mhm. But they all play on Alexander's.
Yeah, do they?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
and and actually, I did actually have a thought that maybe you will like the Alexander triples. The old Czech players all, besides Rabbit, they all played Alexander triples. And the reason for that is that because there's so much metal, the sound doesn't kind of break.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of creates the softness.
Whoa, that's a good piece of
Yeah.
information.
So my impression is that maybe you will like heavy horns, and nowadays heavy horns tend to be triple horns. And
Mhm.
there are players who play on the triple horn just for the sound, not for the high F horns. They're players who will never use the high F.
Just enjoy the sound.
Yeah,
Okay.
just for the sound. Or you might like Paxman as well.
Never tried it.
Never tried it, but the kind of the large bale Paxman.
Yeah,
You
I
might
have
like
seen
it.
it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
your sound concept is probably not quite modern.
No.
So probably looking into old used horns will be good. Yamaha 668 or the Yamaha Symphony horns, the one with the kind of square rectangular F horn pipe on the backside.
Maybe I'm too young.
Yeah, they don't make them anymore, but there I think a bunch of used ones available. Many American and Canadian horn players play on it.
Okay.
And Yamaha triple horns are also very good horns. You might like it. Yeah. Yeah. Um the Alex 103 I'm playing on now, it took me a year and a half to find. I had I was getting a clear idea what kind of sound I was looking for, but it took me a year and a half because I had to go through like 20 or 30 different horns to kind of really find the one I liked. So it's important to wait until you really think you like it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for everything. That's
All
right.
right.
I think you have to go probably.
Yeah. Do you want to schedule the next one now, or do you want to email me later?
Oh no, now it's good. So would you